Hello everyone and welcome to Soul GPS. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about trance induction and specifically the narcissist trance, as this kind of topic is getting a lot of traction and a lot of people are asking about it, and it's actually become a very deep subject in my research, and I am myself very much interested in it. Partly because I was in a 9-year-long relationship with someone who have claimed to be a hypnotherapist, had studied the Ericksonian technique and NLP and so on and so forth, and silly me got very trusting very quickly with this person, and while I was thinking that he was helping me, and by being really open and forthcoming about the fact that this is something that he knew how to do, he was naturally someone that I could lean into and trust. So he would also do this really interesting technique of telling me, that what he does is by talking about trance, he helps you break the trance. So he's making me aware of the fact that I am in a trance, which was everything that included all of my beliefs and my perception that was prior to the relationship. So this is how he was able to really hook me in with his belief system, make me doubt everything that I believed before in the past, and therefore he was able to sneak in his own software into my hardware, because I was starting to think of myself and look at myself as faulty, as lacking. He was much older, he was very impressive and eloquent, and so I wanted to learn from him and be able to see the world the way he did. So that's what he did. So it's the sort of classical stages of love bombing, and then hooking you in with, giving you something that you lacked and make you then doubt yourself and your own self-value, slowly degrade you, devalue you, and eventually you kind of become a copy of them, which is what happened to me. As I remember, when I was about 6 years into this relationship, I was driving home from work. I was utterly exhausted because at work, I was dealing with sociopaths too. And so I was drained, there was gossip, there was this, there was that, I wasn't able to really focus on the work that I was doing. Instead, I was really focusing on shielding myself and battling the corporate demons. And so then I would come home, and then the different kind of abuse would start. And I hit a low point. I remember I was driving home and it was raining, and I watched the windshield wipers going left and right, and I think that too put me in a bit of a trance. And I don't know what really happened, but it was such a blessed moment, because I realized in that moment that I had lost myself. Me was reduced to this tiny little flicker of a light. Like, if you imagine this big room, and just in this corner, this dark room, and there's this tiny little light left, and I saw that that was me, and was close to being completely extinguished. And I got really scared. And then I thought that, and I noticed that my thoughts were just like the thoughts of my partner, and that my perception had shifted. And then I thought back to how I used to be at 14, 15, 16, 17. I met him when I was 19. So when I was a teenager, and I was a different person. And I was like, oh my God, where have I gone? Who am I? And so that was kind of the beginning. It took me 3 more years to eventually leave that relationship. But I remember that beginning, that was the point where I was like, I had lost myself. So what are the stages of trance that the narcissist puts, most narcissists will put their victims in? And again, some do it more unconsciously, because it's a pattern that works. Now, this pattern wasn't developed first, and then people learn how to do it. Remember, this is the other way around, is that people already do it, and brilliant psychologists later, further down in their own practice, education, discernment, research, have been able to see the pattern and then talk about it. Because once you see the pattern, it's so much harder to fall for it. So this is how it goes. And actually, I've been able to coin my first little statement, first little term, as I was researching this and putting it together from a variety of sources. And that is the term, the stage that I called regression with reward. What does that mean? And this consists of there are 5 stages of this. These are the first 2 stages, and they will pretty much comprise the love bombing trance. So what does a narcissist do? Once they spot you, and remember, in most cases, we talk about the law of attraction, the power of attraction. I have some issues with that whole law of attraction thing, and I should probably make a separate video about this, but the bottom line is it's incomplete, the way that it's been put out there with the Hicks, with the you know, all sorts of new age gurus, The Secret and all. There's some truth to it. There are definitely real components, but it's incomplete. Again, I'll go into this in another video. But many of us, and that feeds into the game, again, a trance of self-blame, which is something that we are very susceptible to. Codependents, empaths, you know, people who have been victimized, who have been targeted by abusive personalities. We have this tendency to take on the blame. We've been trained to do this. We've been doing this over and over and over again. So yet again, here we can start to take the blame that, oh my God, I attracted the narcissist. Well, I think there's some truth to it, in the sense that there's this repetition compulsion thing going on, where we want to finish something that got started in our childhood. So we're going to engage with these kinds of characters. We're attracted to them because they remind us of the narcissist in our past, and so we want to kind of make good on it, and we want to appease them, we want to please them, because we've learned that this is how we get our love, this is how we get a reward. So. But you need to remember about the other side. You know, don't blame yourself that you have attracted this kind of person into your life. Like, why have I done this? You know, like, why does it keep happening to me? They also have a radar. And I think that this is, in some ways, bigger reason why these personalities pop in our life. It's not so much that we sit there and attract them like a magnet, but it's more that they see us and they go, here's a good one. You know, let's try that. And that's so they start to do what I'm about to tell you what they do. And therefore we fall in and we fall for the trap. So stage 1 is regression. So what they do is, once they engage with us in a conversation, whether we just met them at a party, whether it's a blind date, whether it is a, you know, an online setup date, whether it's, you know, whatever situation, we come in contact with the narcissist, or they seek us out, and then they kind of pop out, you know. I've heard of situations where, you know, people have been followed into restaurants and phone number has been exchanged, and then, you know, I mean, these people are audacious, you know, they don't have a healthy sense of shame. They're more shameless. They don't have healthy breaks. They don't have healthy boundaries. So they're going to do whatever they want in order to get in front of your face. So and that can be appealing to many of us, because it's like, whoa, you know, how cool, like they really like me. I must be really special. So it already starts to cater to the part of ourselves that's vulnerable and that really wants acknowledgement. So they come up and then they start talking to us. And very quickly, and that's another part of the appeal of the narc, is that the small talk quickly shifts into deep talk. And now we're talking about, you know, what bothers us. Like, how was your day? You know, well, I'm seeing, like, maybe I'm seeing you have such sad eyes. Like, what's going on? I got that a lot in my life. You know, I have these sad eyes. And I know that I do because of my background, because of where I came from. And so I'd be like, you know, what's going on? So I quickly would be like, well, you know, da-da-da. And I would tell them about this and that and things that happened in my day, then would quickly spiral down into what happened in my childhood, you know, or what happened with my ex, or what happened with this or that, or what happened at work, you know. And I'm suddenly feel like I have somebody I can lean on, like someone's really listening, they're seeing me, they're hearing me. And what's happening is I'm being put into this regression trance. I'm no longer here in the present talking about, oh, this is a nice drink, you know, well, look at the weather, look at the stars, the nice music playing, how you know, this and that. It's more like I'm going back into this regressive mode. So that's something to keep in mind. And what they also do is they're going to reward us with that. So the reward part is the being there, hearing you out. They're listening to your worries. They're listening to it's what ails you, what the ache. You're able to pour yourself out into their arms, and that feels good. So this little pattern, regression and reward, something to really think about, especially when you are out there in the world meeting new people. Are they putting you into that state where you're really opening up your heart too quickly? I mean, this is a great thing to do in a therapy session. You want to do that. You do want to open yourself up when you feel like you're with the right therapist, of course, or with the right coach. And you do want to do it once you establish a bond of trust, and you know that you can really trust this person, and that's what builds intimacy. But intimacy should be built a little bit later down the line, not on the first day or first week or first month of knowing this person. You need at least a couple months to really get to know who this person is. So stage number 1, regression. Stage number 2, reward. Stage number 3 is confusion. So now they're going to start to withdraw, whether it's through ghosting, and so, you know, they're texting you, oh my God, we're soulmates, we're this, we're that, we have this incredible connection, and suddenly they're gone for a few days, poof, you're like, what is going on? You start to second guess yourself. Did I say the wrong thing? Did I do the wrong thing? You know, did they maybe not like my makeup? Did they not like, you know, that I drive the wrong car? You know, whatever. And the moment you start to ruminate on that, that should be a red flag, because now they're putting you through a stage of confusion. Step number 4 is promise. This is kind of this can be vocalized, but it can also be a silent promise. This is a place where you feel, and this is where you are trancing yourself, when you feel that things can be better, things can be good, like you can get back to that moment of connection. You're seeking that out because it felt so incredibly comforting. So you're following this kind of untold promise of returning back to that point of connection that you had with this person in the beginning. And as codependents, empaths, you know, we're the kind of people who have learned to please other people. We're people pleasers. And one of the ways in which we dealt with the abuse early on is through dissociation. I made a video about this. I will link it down below. What it does is it's the fuel for imagination. It's a perfect ground to become actually really creative and imaginative, which many codependents are. Where a lot of us are artists, are, you know, people who are able to deeply express ourselves. Why? Partially because when we were raised in abusive homes, one way in which we dealt with the abuse is by dissociating ourselves and creating other worlds, creating other realms into which we would go when things would get too tough in the here and now. So one of the ways in which the narcissist will hook us with promise is that they will put us like these little words, they will say here and there, insinuating certain things that they know we will like, and we will fill in the blanks. And part of this stage is future faking. So as you were getting bonded, you had all sorts of images that are being put in your mind that you co-create or you over-create, because we tend to do more than they give us. We want things to be so good that we believe in things that aren't there. It's also called positive hallucination. Or we do negative hallucination, which we ignore things that are there but we don't want to see. So we live with this sense of untold promise that if I only do more, it's going to be good again. Keeps us in the loop, keeps us in the trance. And then the final stage is dosing. So promise and dosing, confusion, promise, and dosing create kind of their own loop, and regression and reward are the initial loop to kind of hook you in. So regression and reward suck you in, and then you have confusion, promise, kind of going back and forth, and then the dosing, which reinforces the abuse cycle. And the dosing is basically when, after the sense you're withdrawing and you are a valuable source of supply, they're going to give you that little bit of love, give you that little bit of acknowledgement, give you that little whatever it is that you seek, that they know that you like, the thing that you're addicted to. Because we're kind of love addicts, you know. that's our form of addiction. So they're going to give this to us, and so then we're going to be like pacified for a moment and be like, okay, things are good, even though our inner compass, our inner GPS, our intuition is going to tell us, and no, things are not good, which is why you're walking around with this weird stomach ache or headache or whatever it is that you were wounded, or your core wound is manifesting within your body. That is going to start to, kind of symptomize. I don't know if such word exists, symptomize in the background. You're going to start to notice the symptoms of that illness or that disease. So something to be aware of. Now, how do you come out of this cycle? Well, step number 1 is awareness. You want to know that that's what's happening and recognize it, name it. Oh, they're dosing me. Oh, future faking, I promise. Or confusion. Oh, I'm in back and forth. Confusion is also the cognitive dissonance of going back and forth between the positive and negative, but it often happens when they withdraw. It's the moment that, it goes from a lot of attention to zero attention, a lot of attention to zero attention, or the sweet and mean cycle, or, the hot and cold. the opposing sides, when you're kind of caught in the middle of that, and that sets in your brain and you start to literally move like from side to side, and that too gets you in a trance. So you can't get out of it. Like you might find yourself going shopping or doing going around your daily business, you know, going to work, and it's so hard to focus on anything because that's all you keep thinking about. You're in that trance, you know, they got you on the hook. So step number 1 is awareness. Step number 2 is learn about this phenomenon. Knowledge is so empowering. So keep learning, keep studying, keep digging, keep reading. Reading is so wonderful. I mean, it's great you're watching videos, but that engages just a certain modality of your consciousness. It's much easier to forget what you have seen, because it's kind of like, you know, you're not putting much effort when you're listening to videos. Now, I don't want to in any way dissuade you from watching videos. Watch as many as you can. But once you start to actually also read and take notes, that's when you get into the deep stuff, and the information will stay with you. So it will be much easier to recall and pull from your bank of wisdom while you're out there in the world interacting, because all knowledge is only potential knowledge unless it is put into action, in which case it becomes wisdom. And of course, self-love, practicing self-love. And self-love, you know, is something, I heard somebody talk about this on a video. It was very brilliant. It's just a lot like trying to get healthy. We can never nail it down on point. Like, we can never be like perfectly healthy, because life is in flux. Things are always changing. So with self-love, it's the same. We're doing practices in our daily life that bring us ever so close to the target, but we're never going to quite like nail it. Maybe we'll have a moment of just feeling completely serene and centered, but oftentimes life will kind of knock us right out of that. And so our job is to keep returning. And I cannot think of better ways to practice self-love than to set boundaries and learn to say no. Learn to say no. If you don't like something, you feel uncomfortable, exit out, say no. You're going to feel so much more empowered as a result and have that much more self-worth. And self-worth is what builds self-love. And I'm going to be talking way more about that in my future videos. But for now, I want to say thank you to all of you watching my videos and supporting my channel. If you need personal coaching, I am available. You can find all the information on my website. A link is down below. And I wish you a beautiful rest of your day or evening, or sweet dreams if you're listening to it at night. And I will catch you in another video. Take care. Bye-bye.